What if the fish you're eating to stay healthy is actually making you sick? It sounds strange, right? Fish is supposed to be good for your heart, good for your brain. That's what we've always heard. And for the most part, it's true. But not all fish are safe, especially for older adults. As we age, our bodies change. We can't filter toxins like we used to. And some fish carry mercury, chemicals, or bacteria that hit seniors much harder. The worst part, these fish are common. They look healthy. They even show up on heart-smart menus. But they could be doing real damage, slowly, silently. Today, I'll walk you through 6 fish older adults should never eat, and what to eat instead to protect your memory, heart, and immune system. If you're watching to protect your health or someone you love, comment, "I'm here." And don't forget to subscribe for more daily wisdom just like this. Let's start with fish number 1. Number 1. King mackerel. Let me tell you about Grandpa Joe. Every Sunday, like clockwork, he stood by the grill in his backyard. Smoke curling up, apron on, spatula in hand. His specialty: thick, golden fillets of king mackerel. He loved the flavor, the texture, the way it sizzled just right. And he truly believed it was healthy. After all, it's fish. And fish is good for you, right? At first, we believed it too. But over the years, we noticed small changes. Joe was slower to get out of his chair. He started forgetting little things: what day it was, where he put his glasses, the name of his favorite neighbor. His hands sometimes trembled when he passed the salt. We all brushed it off. He's just getting older, we said. But deep down, something didn't feel right. What we didn't know back then is that king mackerel is one of the highest mercury fish you can eat. And for someone over 60, that's a big deal. You see, mercury is a heavy metal. When you're younger, your body can handle it a bit better. But as you age, your ability to filter out toxins slows down. Mercury doesn't just pass through you, it builds up, quietly, day by day. And the damage it causes? It's not always obvious at first. It can show up as memory loss, numbness in the hands, tremors, fatigue, and even increased risk of heart problems. In seniors, too much mercury can mimic symptoms of dementia. And sadly, many families never connect the dots. Another common mistake: people confuse king mackerel with Atlantic mackerel. They sound similar, but they're worlds apart. Atlantic mackerel is much safer, low in mercury, high in nutrients. But king mackerel? It's a silent threat, especially for older adults. So what should you do? If you have king mackerel in your freezer or see it at your local seafood counter, skip it. Don't risk it. Instead, choose safer, smarter alternatives. Wild-caught salmon is a fantastic option, rich in omega-3s, brain-friendly, and low in mercury. Sardines are another great choice. Small fish that don't carry much mercury and are packed with calcium, vitamin D, and healthy fats. Because at this age, every meal counts. And the fish you choose could mean the difference between sharp thinking and slow decline, between strength and weakness, between energy and exhaustion. Comment 1 if this opened your eyes. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe so you never miss another important health warning like this. Now let's move on to fish number 2, one that's often hidden under the name white fish at fancy restaurants, but may be even more dangerous than king mackerel. Number 2, tilefish. Imagine it's your anniversary. You're out at a nice restaurant, soft lighting, linen tablecloths, maybe even a candle flickering between you and your spouse. The waiter comes by and says, "Tonight's catch of the day is a light, flaky white fish with lemon butter and herbs." Very popular. It sounds lovely. You want something healthy, easy to digest, and seafood always seems like a smart choice. But what the waiter didn't mention is that the white fish he just recommended could be tilefish, one of the most dangerous fish for seniors, especially if it comes from the Gulf of Mexico. Tilefish is sneaky. It doesn't sound alarming. It doesn't look suspicious. In fact, it's often dressed up in gourmet sauces and paired with steamed vegetables, giving off the impression of a health-conscious meal. But under that golden crust lies a dangerous truth. Tilefish contains some of the highest mercury levels of any fish sold in the United States, even higher than king mackerel. The problem is, very few people talk about it, and even fewer know to ask. That's what makes it so risky. For older adults, mercury exposure isn't just a minor concern. It's a serious health threat. Mercury doesn't just disappear from the body. It stores itself in your organs, especially the brain and nervous system, and over time, it can mimic or worsen age-related decline. We're talking memory fog, dizziness, balance issues, nerve pain, and in some cases, symptoms that look frighteningly like early dementia. Many families chalk it up to age. But what if it's something as small and as avoidable as the fish on their plate? And here's something else to consider. Tilefish is often found in upscale restaurants or fish markets under different names or simply listed as white fish. That's why it's so important to ask questions. You have every right to know what you're being served. Don't be afraid to say, "What kind of white fish is this?" If they say tilefish, politely pass. Instead, reach for safer options like cod or haddock. Both are mild in flavor, easy to prepare, and far lower in mercury. They won't put your memory, balance, or nervous system at risk. You're not just choosing a fish. You're choosing how your body will feel next week. You're choosing how clearly your mind will function in the months to come. Comment too if this caught you by surprise, and let's keep learning together. Now, the next fish on this list may sound elegant and high class, but it's been quietly linked to serious health decline in seniors. Number 3. Swordfish. David always liked to treat himself when the family went out. Birthdays, anniversaries, even those once-a-year cruises, he'd scan the menu and smile when he saw it. Swordfish. To him, it was the steak of the sea. Thick, flavorful, grilled to perfection. He believed it was one of the healthiest choices he could make. But what David didn't know, and what most people his age still don't, is that swordfish is one of the most toxic fish for older adults. Why? Because swordfish is a large predator. It lives a long time in deep waters and feeds on other fish that are already contaminated. Over the years, it accumulates high levels of mercury and environmental toxins. And once those toxins enter your body, especially after age 60, they don't leave easily. For younger people, a little mercury may not seem like much. But for older adults like David, whose organs are already slowing down, that mercury builds up silently. It travels through the bloodstream, settles into the brain, the kidneys, and the nervous system. Over time, this can cause serious health issues, tremors, memory loss, nerve pain, and even symptoms that resemble early dementia. David didn't notice it at first, but his daughter did. He was forgetting things more often. He seemed tired after dinner. His balance was off. Everyone chalked it up to aging. No one thought it could be something as simple and as avoidable as the fish on his plate. And here's something many people still believe, that grilling or cooking swordfish thoroughly can make it safer. But that's not how mercury works. You can't cook it out. You can't rinse it away. Once it's there, it stays. So what's the solution? Swap swordfish for safer, nourishing alternatives like rainbow trout or pollock. These fish are low in mercury, rich in protein, and gentle on your body. They still deliver the taste and satisfaction without putting your memory, nerves, or heart at risk. Because at this stage in life, food isn't just food. It's medicine or poison, depending on what you choose. Comment 3, if this story gave you something to think about. Next, we're going to talk about a fish that feels fresh, modern, even trendy, but it could be doing more harm than any fish we've discussed so far. Number 4, bigeye tuna. Susan never thought twice about her weekly sushi lunch. It was her little tradition. Every Friday afternoon, she'd meet her friends at the local sushi spot. She loved how light and fresh it felt. It was her version of eating clean. And her favorite roll? The one with that beautiful, deep red tuna, bigeye tuna, also known as ahi tuna. But what Susan didn't realize was that her healthy habit might have been slowly hurting her. Bigeye tuna is one of the worst fish older adults can eat, and not just because of mercury, although it's dangerously high in that too. The real issue is the double risk it carries: high mercury and high bacteria exposure. That combination can be quietly devastating for seniors. Bigeye tuna is a deep-swimming, long-living fish. Like swordfish, it absorbs mercury over years of eating smaller contaminated fish. By the time it's served raw on a sushi plate, it's often carrying high levels of mercury that can't be seen or tasted. But for someone over 60, mercury doesn't just go away. It accumulates, affecting memory, balance, nerves, and overall energy. But there's more. Unlike cooked fish, raw tuna can carry bacteria and parasites that may barely affect a younger person, but can seriously harm someone with a slower, aging immune system. In Susan's case, she thought her fatigue and stomach issues were just part of getting older. But the truth? Her body was struggling to fight off low-grade infections that came from eating raw fish every week. For seniors, bacteria like salmonella, listeria, and parasites from undercooked or raw seafood can linger longer, hit harder, and do more damage. That makes bigeye tuna a double threat: high mercury and high bacterial risk. Many people assume all tuna is the same, but it's not. Bigeye and albacore are high in mercury. In contrast, skipjack tuna, often labeled as light tuna in cans, is much safer. It's lower in mercury, budget-friendly, and can be easily enjoyed cooked, which removes most bacterial concerns. If you or someone you love enjoys tuna, here's the simple rule. Stick to light canned tuna, no more than twice a week, and opt for cooked, not raw. Susan eventually made that shift, and over time, she felt better, sharper, lighter, and less fatigued. That small change made a big difference. Comment for if this helped you rethink your tuna habits. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to our channel. We break down health dangers most people never hear about and give you safer, smarter solutions every week. Next, let's talk about a fish that seems healthy in the store but is raised in a way that could shock you. Number 5. Farm salmon. Marjorie always felt good about her salmon dinners. It was her go-to healthy meal. Lightly seasoned, oven-roasted, paired with steamed vegetables. She bought it on sale every week at her local grocery store. The packaging said it was rich in omega-3s, heart-healthy, and protein-packed. It seemed like the perfect food. But what Marjorie didn't know was that farm salmon, especially the kind imported from overseas, is often one of the most chemically contaminated fish you can eat. The problem isn't the salmon itself. It's how it's raised. Most farm salmon come from massive underwater pens, especially in places like Chile and parts of Southeast Asia. In these pens, thousands of fish are packed together in small spaces. To prevent disease outbreaks, farmers feed them antibiotics, chemical dyes, and low-grade pellets, ingredients that wouldn't be allowed in U.S. cattle or poultry. But in fish, it slides by. And that bright pink color? It's often not natural. Farm salmon don't get their color from diet, like wild ones do. Instead, they're given chemical colorants to make their flesh look appealing. Without it, the meat would be dull gray. Even worse, the feed given to these fish is sometimes contaminated with PCBs and dioxins, industrial pollutants linked to cancer, hormone disruption, inflammation, and immune system damage. For a senior body already working harder to manage inflammation, arthritis, or heart health, these toxins are a quiet but real threat. Marjorie didn't see it coming. She just knew her joints were stiffer, her skin more sensitive, her sleep less restful. Her doctor couldn't find anything specific. But she had no idea the very salmon she trusted was likely increasing her body's toxic load week after week. Here's the better option: wild-caught Alaskan salmon. It's not raised in pens. It feeds naturally in clean waters. It doesn't need dyes or antibiotics. Yes, it costs a bit more, but what's the price of protecting your body, your brain, and your future? And remember, not all salmon in the store is labeled clearly. If it doesn't say wild-caught, it's most likely farmed. Check the country of origin, too. Imported farm salmon often has the worst standards. So the next time you reach for that healthy fillet, ask yourself, where did this fish come from and what did it eat? Because that journey becomes your journey. Comment 5 if you've ever bought salmon thinking it was healthy. The next fish we'll cover may bring back memories, family dinners, comfort food, tradition. But sometimes, comfort comes with a hidden cost. Number 6. Imported catfish. For Walter, fried catfish was more than just a meal. It was a memory. Every Saturday he'd stand by the stove, apron on, pan sizzling. The smell of crispy breading filled the house. His grandkids would run in from the backyard, plates in hand, waiting for that first crunchy bite. It reminded him of growing up in the South, fishing with his father, and watching his mother dip fillets in cornmeal. It felt like home. But what Walter didn't realize was that the catfish he was frying later in life wasn't the same as the catfish of his youth. It was imported, and it came with risks he never imagined. Imported catfish, especially from countries like Vietnam and parts of Southeast Asia, is often raised in unregulated fish farms with poor water quality and questionable practices. These farms are overcrowded and unsanitary. To keep diseases under control, fish are fed a cocktail of antibiotics and chemicals, many of which are banned in the United States due to safety concerns. And that's the real danger. Older adults like Walter already have a weakened immune system. They're more vulnerable to bacteria, foodborne illness, and chemical exposure. What might cause mild stomach discomfort in a younger person could result in serious illness, hospitalization, or worse for a senior. Especially when those fish carry drug-resistant bacteria, something more and more common in imported seafood. The problem is imported catfish is cheap. It's everywhere, frozen in bulk bags served in diners and sold under different names like Basa or Sway. Most people have no idea what they're really buying. And for seniors on a fixed income, the low price tag seems like a good deal. But that deal can come with a hidden cost. If you or someone you love enjoys catfish, there's a safer path. Choose U.S. farm catfish. American fish farms are held to higher standards. Water quality is monitored. Feed is regulated. Antibiotics are limited. And most importantly, it's far less likely to carry harmful bacteria or banned chemicals. Also, always cook catfish thoroughly. Well-cooked catfish lowers the risk of foodborne illness, especially important for anyone with chronic conditions or slower digestion. Walter eventually learned the difference. He switched to locally farmed catfish, cooked it well, and kept his weekend tradition alive, this time with peace of mind. Because food isn't just about taste. It's about trust. It's about protecting the people we love, even in the smallest choices. Comment 6 if you've ever bought catfish without knowing where it came from. And make sure you subscribe to BT Elderly Advice. Every video is here to protect your health, your mind, and the memories you're still making. Now that we've covered all 6 fish, let's take a moment to reflect, because behind these foods are stories that matter. We just walked through 6 fish that on the surface seem harmless, even healthy. But for older adults, they can carry hidden dangers that build up slowly, silently, and sometimes irreversibly. King mackerel, praised for its flavor, but packed with mercury. Tilefish, often served without warning under the name white fish, with mercury levels even higher than king mackerel. Swordfish, rich and elegant, but storing years of toxins inside every bite. Bigeye tuna, that deep red sushi favorite, bringing both mercury and bacteria to a weakened immune system. Farm salmon, raised in crowded pens and fed chemicals you'd never accept in your meat. Imported catfish, cheap and comforting, yet often raised in waters you wouldn't want to drink from. Each of these fish has one thing in common. They seem like good choices until you know the truth. That's the hardest part. Most seniors eating these fish aren't making bad decisions. They're doing what they've always done. They're choosing what feels familiar, what used to be safe, what's sold with a healthy label on the shelf or a confident smile from a waiter. But as we get older, the rules change. The body changes. The immune system changes. What was fine at 40 might not be fine at 70. And that's not a weakness. That's simply reality. That's why this message matters. Because the people we love, our parents, our grandparents, maybe even ourselves, deserve to know the truth. Not to live in fear, but to live with power, with clarity, with protection. So what can you do today? Take one small step. Check your freezer. Read the label on that can of tuna. Ask the waiter what kind of fish is being served next time you eat out. These aren't big moves, but they are bold ones. Because protecting your health doesn't always mean more medications or appointments. Sometimes it starts right at the dinner table, with what you choose to put on your plate. If you've made it to the end of this video, I want to thank you from the heart. It means you care. It means you're willing to learn. And most importantly, it means you're ready to take better care of yourself or someone you love. Comment below if any of these fish surprised you, or if one of them used to be a regular meal in your home. I read every comment, and I'd love to hear your story, your questions, or what changes you're thinking of making. And please, don't leave without subscribing to our channel. Every week, we share powerful advice designed to help older adults live longer, feel stronger, and stay informed. This isn't just about fish. It's about health. It's about family. It's about making better choices that bring better days. Stay wise. Stay well. And I'll see you in the next video.